Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Ash on Comics. I'm Ash, and this is today's comic. We're talking about Marvel, Avengers, Fantastic Four, Empire. I don't actually know what the title of this damn book is because there's all these different spin-offs books. There's Avengers Empire. I think there's a Fantastic Four Empire. This seems to be the main Empire book. In the solicits, it's just being called Empire #1, but you can clearly see on the trade dress, it says Avengers, Fantastic Four, Empire. I don't get it. Anyways, I wasn't going to do any reviews or talk about these books after I did the previous video on, what was it, Avengers, I think it was Avengers Empire was the name of it, or Empire, see again, number 0. This is also freaking confusing. Why can't you, Marvel, why can't you just do, look, if you need to do like a 12-issue series, you need to do an 18-issue series, just do that. Quit doing all these like, oh, here's 3 issues of this, 3 issues of that, 4 issues of this, 2 issues of that, because you want all these stupid #1s, and you want people, because, you know, collectors, they can't resist these #1s. I don't know why. If you've been in comics long enough, you know that, yes, #1s, I mean, they're a starting point, so they have some collectability, but they usually have more issues sold, a lot more issues, so they're way more common. Everyone's going after them, and usually 99% of the time, a #1, especially modern comics, are just trash. No one cares about them anymore, right? No one's ever going to be looking for, you know, the Unstoppable Wasp #1 in 30 years. That's going to be in a quarter bin still, and I'm talking about both Unstoppable Wasp #1s. Anyways, so back to this comic. The reason I'm talking about this one here is because it's the main series, and I thought, you know, what I read was a 0 issue, and it was a spin-off. It wasn't even part of the main thing. It was like a lead-in. I should probably go after the core material. So here we go. We got the Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Ghost Rider, Hulk, and Thor. And Fantastic Four, we got 6 people part of the Fantastic Four. And since, look, I don't proclaim to be an expert on the Avengers or the Fantastic Four during modern times at all. I don't read either book because Jason Aaron destroyed one of my favorite characters, Thor, and I find his Avengers to be not good. And Fantastic Four is written by Dan Slott. And the guy is he's just not a good writer. But when did we start calling these characters Powerhouse and Brainstorm? Could someone put in the chat and educate me? When would Reed Richards, when did they give him the stupid name Powerhouse? And Brainstorm? Really? Whatever. Okay, I've wasted way too much time here. Here's a page. Here's what's going on. Credit, big, 2-page splash of credits, because that's the way Marvel does things now. In the old days when Marvel comics were great, you'd get this like little 1-inch sliver on the bottom of the page showing you who did the book. Nowadays, where Marvel Comics is full of self-aggrandizing characters, superheroes are gone. It's a bunch of Tumblr writers and artists and people that'll work for pennies. They're so proud to work at Marvel because it's the best job they've ever had in their life. At least it's the most prestigious job they've ever had in their life. And it really shows because they constantly pat themselves on the back and they devote 2 solid pages to be like, look at what we did. So it starts off at the end of the Avengers Empire 0 issue, Fantastic Four showed up. So this picks up right where that leaves off. So I guess that's kind of a good sign. Reed Richards' Thought Journal, entry 442020. Our latest family outing has taken yet another fascinating turn. Enlighten me here, Stretch. Is this a revolting development, or ain't it? Ben, old friend, that's an excellent question. What the hell What's wrong? Why have we decided that Reed Richards looks like a Goomba here? Like, what the... I don't even know what a Goomba is, so hopefully I didn't offend someone with the word. It's a funny sounding word. But even look at him. That's an excellent question. The militarist Kree Imperium has been on conflict of our old enemies, the Skrulls, for millennia. Now we've learned that the war is over at last. The Kree and the Skrulls have allied. That's the good news. The bad news is that their heavily armed war fleet is heading towards Earth. And we have no idea why. Is it those guys don't look super invadey to you? Hey there. Maybe they're bringing Earth a nice basket of fruit. Here's my problem. If we want to look into this, it ain't just us. We got the kids to consider. Oh, yes, the children. So they've got these kids that they're packing. Joven and Nikala, I'm guessing, were probably featured in some Fantastic Four issues that I didn't read. And their children, of course, one representing the Kree, one representing the Skrulls, and naturally they hate each other. Even now, they're sizing each other up for the next battle. That they can't even process the idea of peace. Because that's how kids are, right? But whatever. This is all fluff. So Reed Richards asks Franklin, Powerhouse, look, I need you and Valeria to, take the kids so we can investigate. It's the whole problem. They got the kids with them. And, Franklin's, all put off. Seriously? You're sending me home now? My powers are fading. I've been waiting, holding back, because any time I could use them, I could just be the last time. I've been waiting for something just like this. A Kree Skull warfleet is getting ready to crush the Earth, Dad. Let me help. Franklin, this is how you help. You exit the story. Because if we used your powers, Marvel wouldn't be able to sell a dozen #1 issues. And you would be able to save everyone. And there would be no lives lost. And it would be great. But we can't have that because you're way too overpowered. And we need the characters that everyone knows and loves to actually save the day. So you got to go with Valeria. And besides, she didn't pass her driver's license test. Yep, I shit you not. Look at this frame here. If Franklin wants to stay, I can fly the kids out. I'm a better pilot anyway. The DMV thinks otherwise, Val. And until you retake your driving test, we have to respect that. Dad, we're in outer space. That's got to be outside their jurisdiction. I mean, who would know? I would. And so would your mother. So Reed Richards is not going to let her fly a Fantasticar or whatever spaceship because she didn't pass her driver's test, which is astounding to me anyway, that Valeria Richards, probably the smartest person on the planet, couldn't pass a driver's test. It's stupid. And then we just get all this fluff stuff. Franklin's still angry with me that when they leave, for a moment, I worry I'm being too inflexible. Get it? Too inflexible. I shouldn't second guess myself, but the boy's at such a difficult age, and he's dealing with so much. There'll always be a part of me that worries. Oh, fucking spare me the melodrama. We don't need this. This is clearly Dan Slott writing. I don't sense any Al Ewing at all. If you go back and read Immortal Hulk, he doesn't write like this. I could be wrong. I don't have any proof on anything, but my speculation leads me to believe that Al Ewing and Dan Slott collaborated together to have an overall story and a plot, and then the actual execution of the script was handed off mostly to Slott, to give him something to do, probably. And I think they wanted Al Ewing's name on there because Empire just being architected by Dan Slott would be dead on arrival. I mean, look at Iron Man 2020. So this is still going on. They decide, okay, we're gonna turn invisible because, look, at this point, the super advanced Kree Armada, and here's the Fantastic Four right in front of them, or maybe behind them. I guess they are behind him. But there's ships all around him. Haven't been noticed yet, apparently. So all this time later, they're like, oh, we're gonna go invisible. That's a good idea. Naturally, we're invisible to radar too, or the Kree and Skrull equivalents. This is Mr. Fantastic talking. Mr. Fantastic saying, whatever mumbo jumbo equivalent to radar these space people have. Because, again, Dan Slott can't write a super genius like Reed Richards, a super scientist. And I don't necessarily fault him. Reed Richards would be incredibly hard to write. I mean, the guy's a super genius. And, you know, most writers, especially with comic books, you're just a layman person. So I'm not going to jump down his throat too much, but it just, instead of trying to write a super genius, try to write around it. Don't write yourself into a corner to show and make Reed Richards sound dumb because you don't know how to sound smart. Try to just avoid that. That's the way to really do it. Show Reed Richards making solutions so you don't have to actually put it into text, and you can just go, hey, look, there's Reed Richards doing science-y stuff that we can't comprehend because we're all too stupid. But when you put it into words, especially Reed Richards words, come on. This is something a good editor should be able to tell. If I can say this stuff on a stupid YouTube video that no one watches, Marvel should be able to hire editors that should be able to say this. But I continue. Susan makes it seem effortless. She really is the strongest of us all. Oh, for fuck's sake. This is where it always goes. If you constantly have to prop something or someone up, it's not because it's strong, it's because it's weak. Quit doing this. Quit trying to tell me how woke you are and how much of a feminist ally you are by saying women are great, women are the best. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go around, men don't ever go around talking about how great men are the best. No, we don't need that. You don't need it. It's cringy. And I know some of you maybe aren't bothered by this. You're like, Jesus, Ash, calm down. I don't give a shit. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to. But this is my video. This is my opinions. I mean, why even make a video if I can't express my genuine thoughts? So, anyways. So they're all invisible, and they go and they peep, and they see, oh, look, it's what's his name? It's Hulkling, no one cares about. Theodore Altman, Hulkling, one of Earth's heroes. His father was a Kree. His mother was a Skrull. In some ways, he's the natural choice to lead a hybrid army. But I can't say I was expecting him or his new allies. So, naturally, the Kree, with their radar or equivalents, Reed didn't calculate that they have super beings that can sense invisibility, so he uses his superpowers, and voila! They reveal. Now we cut over to the Avengers. Testing. The cat sat on the mat. I am Iron Man. Yes, that was me, not that was the book. Testing. The cat sat on the mat. I am Iron Man. Tony Stark, personal mental recording online. So get it. So Tony Stark is the smart guy of the Avengers, and Reed Richards is the smart guy of the fans, and each of them do a personal recording. That's why I was kind of doing the William Shatner to speak here as a little captain. You know, it's so derivative. Dan Slott is so... Tony? Sorry, Cap. Just getting my thoughts in order. I've set my armor to record mental impressions. Another backup copy of yourself, Stark? More of a black box. If this goes badly, I'd like people to know what we were doing here. And also why. I want Earth to know about the garden. Earth doesn't know about the garden? Because I see Earth right here. Right there in the picture. I see any kid with a telescope who could point it at the moon would be able to see this garden. I'm surely NASA can see the garden and every other space agency on the planet. But whatever. And then we get Swordsman saying, hey, Hulk, follow me. You need a weapon. So, Hulk not need puny sword. Trust me, you'll need this. Follow. So, They don't know what to call this new Kawadi thing that looks... I don't know if it's coincidentally or... It just looks... Obviously, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Unsurprisingly, expectedly, androgynous. There is no male, female. Every time I look, actually, it oftentimes looks like this person is drawn female. They call it by him, the pronouns. But look, that is a female face. And it's, it's a small body. Look, you can see here, dwarfed by... It's just all the feminine aspects, but it identifies as male. You can take away with that as what you will. Speaking of identifying as male, Hulk shows back up and apparently has a male body with no package, if you get my drift. If you look at this picture right here, this is a male body with breasts and no penis. Or maybe it's tucked away. I don't know. I'm not judging. Yeah, I am. It's a comic book. I can judge pictures drawn on paper. I don't understand the need to do this. This, to me, is completely sexist. Jennifer Walters was a perfectly fine, beloved character by many in her original, or at least her original form after Savage She-Hulk, when she didn't really quite work. They kind of worked out the kinks, and they made her sort of the comical, sexy She-Hulk. She replaced Thing on the Fantastic Four. I believe she was on the Avengers for a time before. She was an accepted character. No one was like, fuck She-Hulk. I mean, I wasn't really a fan of her, but, I don't like every character. It's fine. It doesn't mean the characters are bad. It's just we all have preferences. But this is like, oh, we gotta improve She-Hulk by making her male. Now, again, you might be like, Ash, you're just really reaching and trying to, go, harden the paint on the whole SJW comic things. No, this is a male anatomy. Narrow hips, broad shoulders. This is how you draw a man. If I were to cover her face, well, I can't cover the breasts. Like, this is a male body. And it just drives me nuts because it's not necessary and it's sexist. It's done for sexist reasons. When you say a woman is only improved when we make them more masculine, you're the opposite of a feminist. You may think, oh, I'm being an ally. I care about women. No, you care about women being not women. You think femininity is a bad thing. And then we get this really awful dialogue. It's me, Thor, really me. The resonance of the amber in this hammer, along with the Kawati meditation techniques, they're helping me focus, calming the rage inside, but keeping the strength and the power. Oh, look. So now She-Hulk's got a hammer too. Yay. Honestly, I feel more alive than I have in years. Thor just is like, good. And this whole scene was just awkward. I didn't understand what the intent was. I read it over and over, and I looked at this page, and I was like, it just kind of comes in out of nowhere. She just shows up, has this scene, and then they never address it again. I'm like, what's the point of writing this awkward scene in here? It doesn't seem to serve any purpose other than to go to the reader and be like, look what we did to She-Hulk. Aren't we? Isn't it awesome? We made her even more manly. So, skipping ahead, Tony doing his monologue, whatever. And then, Captain Marvel looking completely, speaking of androgynous, I mean, does she have any feminine figure at all? God, I hate this character so much. Kree Skull Fleet, this is Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. I may no longer speak for the Earth because I'm a supervillain and I've killed my fellow Avengers and I've created concentration camps where I've secreted people away. I'm a bad person. She didn't include those parts. But you all know I never speak lightly. Earth is an Avengers world. Wait, time out. What the fuck is an Avengers world? Is that what it is now? Are we all just ruled by the Avengers? Is the Avengers the elite, I don't know, like the reigning council of Earth? These These people that write these books, it's an Avengers world? This garden is under our protection. You know what that means. This will be your only warning. Then Tony Stark chimes in. And if it were me, you wouldn't even get that. So think very carefully about your next move. Tony? Something simple. Me and my big mind. Great Scott! What are you doing here? I think Reed Richards utters this line, Great Scott, 2 or 3 times in this book alone. Remember I talking about derivative? So many things here are just like, oh, look, hey, look, Dan Slott saw Back to the Future. Scientists say, Great Scott. Because that's what scientists do. It's so corny. Just a bunch of useless dialogue where they're talking about, oh, look, Hulkling's leading, and he's in the Kree and alliance, and we're together, and it's more talking. They're trying to talk him out of it and be like, why do you want to serve as the figurehead? As if it would even matter that he serves as a figurehead. Like, it would. Okay, so say he goes, oh, yeah, you're right, guys. I'm going to come back and join the Avengers. Do the Kree Skrull Armada just go home? Do they have enough? If you're a figurehead, you don't mean anything anyway. So, yeah. So they're here to destroy the Kawadi because they're bad. And the Avengers are like, nope, we're not going to. Tony's like, you think they accepted you because you held a sword up? These are warrior races, kid. You have to be seen using it. This is a PR stunt, an easy target to cement their alliance, a blood sacrifice, and it's on your hands. No, Mr. Stark, that's not what this is. Reed, what's your take? I'm not sure. It makes sense given what we know, but what do we know? What do we simply assume? And that's probably the best part of this whole book, is Reed Richards actually telling you through this narrative, don't assume anything here. And this is how we should live our lives. We should just stop assuming things and jumping to conclusions because we see something and immediately go, oh, this is what my confirmation bias tells me is happening. It must be bad. Tony's certainty seems absolute. I'm sure you screwed up, kid, but don't worry. The Avengers will save you. Just stay out of our way. Ghost Rider, are you at the Quinjet controls? Pedal to the metal, Mr. Stark. And so he turns the Quinjet into Ghost Quinjet. Nobody freak out. This is one of the dumbest things I've seen since the last time I read an Jason Aaron Avengers book. I'm sure, yes, it looks spectacular. Like, on the surface, you go, oh, cool. But now the Ghost Quinjet, and still more and more talk. And so Thing tries to talk him down and says, come on, kid. I'll let you say it's clobbering time. You really want to be a figurehead for these schmucks? And he stops and thinks, No, I think I can do better. Super Skrull, Captain Glory, and Battlefield Command, hold off the Avengers, but no enemy casualties. The rest of you, we make our stand here. And so here was a problem. There's a big red flag to me as a reader. Hulkling is the best character in this book. Hulkling, who's a character I came into going, oh my god, there's a character I only barely know of called Hulkling, which is a stupid name on the surface. I have no interest in this character whatsoever. I was like, whatever. My eyes rolled back. I'm supposed to like the Avengers. I'm supposed to like the Fantastic Four. But they're all fucking idiots or assholes, or in some cases, both. Hulkling seems to be the only one who's committed to a just cause and doing something righteous. And he's committed. And we can see here some little hints. Hold off the Avengers, but no casualties. He's insisting on not killing anyone. That clues me in as a reader that he's not an evil person. If he was a bad guy, he would just be like, slaughter them all. But no, he doesn't want to. And then Sue is like, oh no, we're staying here. Thank you very much. staying here and talking through this like civilized adults? What? Wah, wah, wah. They were illusions. Doot, 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 doot. You'd almost think the Fantastic Four had never been around the block. just total amateurs. And Thing confronts him. So that's it, huh? You like a taste of power? Hardly, Mr. Grimm. But you clearly won't listen to us, and we honestly don't have the time to convince you. So I guess it's clobbering time. And I was like, yes! So Thing was being totally condescending to him earlier, being like, come on, I'll let you say it's clobbering time, like, this is a kid who's grown up. He's leading 2 great interstellar species. He's not just a dopey child, and he doesn't behave like one, more importantly for me as the reader. And then he turns around and is like, it's clobbering time. I don't need your approval to say that. So this was actually probably my favorite part of the book. The other part I said was my favorite, probably my second. Yeah. And then Johnny Storm just being in the back, just be there for comic relief, doesn't do anything in the book. Wow, what a revolting development. Ugh, shut up. Dun 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 dun. So meanwhile, with the Ghost Quinjet activates dual pin and stare. So moronic. Maybe if I was 10, I would think this is cool. But when I was 13 reading comics, I would have been like, this is hokey and dumb. I mean, it looks cool, I guess, whatever. And so, we know what the pen and stare does, makes you feel your ultimate guilt. And so the pilot's like, oh no, I'm so guilty. And then, clever. Now try that trick on a Kree super soldier. Gene modded to feel 0 guilt in the field. Captain Glory doesn't commit sins, demon. I only follow orders! Oh, God, that's cringe. Only follow orders? I wonder... I wonder what you're alluding to. We're hit! He's killed the engines! Without attempting to kill us. Interesting. Ghost Rider, stay at the controls. The rest of you, we're going outside. And I was like, wait a second. Why is Black Panther here? What's he going to do against an interstellar armada? Oh, I shouldn't have asked. I forgot. Black Panther is essentially Black Iron Man. Only better. Look at this Super Panther Man, Iron Panther suit. But it's probably made of vibranium. Vibranium Panther? Is that... It looks fucking cool. I give it that. Props. This is a pinup. I go, yeah, that's fucking badass looking. Really fucking cool as far as a mech suit goes. I mean, is this... at first I was like, where does his legs go? It doesn't fit the human anatomy right. And so I was like, this must be actually a large mech suit, and his entire body is within the torso of the suit. So it's his, it's like an oversized mech suit. That's cool. But it just... Black Panther is a physical adept sort of character, right? He's like a Batman-esque kind of character. It's all about his physical prowess and stuff like that. When you put him in a suit of a mech suit, you get rid of all of that. It's defeating the purpose of that character. And like I always talk about in comics, like fights should be a story in and of themselves. Modern writers don't know how to do that, so it's a bunch of just grandstanding and posing and being like, look at me, I'm awesome, and then there's going to be fight, and I'm going to imply that there's action by drawing a scene of someone standing, like a pinup, and people shouting at each other. But nothing actually happens until this. Hulk, I'm telepathing a strategy while the Skrull is distracted. As the petal flies on the breeze. I hear you, swordsman. That move has another name on Earth. Fastball special! Concise, Super Skrull. Or he's saying Super Skrull. This was terrible. Like, what is it with modern SJW writers? having to rip off the fastball special all the time. I swear they use it every fucking chance. I read an X-Men comic once and they did this thing called fastball special. Yay! Sorry. Post-clap warning. And Swordsman swings a sword and chops something. Again, there's no fight choreography. There's no, you see what I'm saying? It's just raw, pose, and swipe. I don't get I want to feel the conflict. I want the conflict to matter and make sense and to be something I can follow. Not just, hey, look, there was a fight. Oh, okay, cool. Why even show it? So now Thor's having a pity party about he's not in the fight. And he's like, I should be in the fight too. I'm a tough guy. And Iron Man's like, well, we do need you. And puts this device on Thor's hammer and says, swing for the fences, big guy. And so Thor's like, so be it. If this boy would play the king, 'tis a role the thunder god has also learned of late. Let us see who wears the crown better. Let the storm strike. Now, meanwhile, this is not happening in Thor comics. There's no continuity. I don't understand what's this. Everything in Marvel Comics, every series is like its own pocket dimension. Marvel almost needs to do that and make every Marvel comic its own. You can call this Marvel 618, and Thor can be Marvel 619. These are all different universes. None of these things matter to each other. Thor is off fighting the Black Winter right now with Galactus. He's not in doing this, but it doesn't matter because they'll have a Thor book. They'll probably have an Empire Thor book. Who cares? So Thor throws his hammer, and then we get this. Let the hammer fly. And it does. That's the thing about Mjolnir. It looks like a brick on a stick, but it soars like a symphony, like an angel in some poet's dream, like magic and wonder. That's Iron Man. And then we get Reed. I've seen a great many wonders in my life. The atmospheric field, something's breached it. Breach sealed. And when you're married to the greatest wonder, it's easy to take them in stride. Oh, for fuck's sake. My liege! But there are still times when I am reminded of my capacity for awe. Now, here's the problem. I mean, besides having to prop up Sue Storm once again, the picture, the art should have sold this. This right here, I didn't need any of this bad narrative. Like this poorly written, looks like a brick on a stick. It soars like a symphony, like an angel in a poet's dream. I didn't need that. You just sapped all of it away. If you go back and read Thor #1, or just watch my video on Thor #1, what Donny Cates does in the beginning, and he has Thor throwing his hammer, there's silence. It's just the hammer flying, and the art is selling it. The art here should be selling that too, the hammer flying. And when it comes crashing down, we don't need any of this narrative. Maybe have the characters be like, oh, yeah, they can scream if they want. But this panel right here should sell it. I don't need a text box saying, you should be in awe of this. The art should sell it. It would have. I would have been like, holy shit, he just stopped Thor's hammer with his sword. What the hell? Great Scott! Reed Richards looks like such a doofus. And then we hear Iron Man, I just don't get excited about magic anymore. Cool beans, activate phase 2, he says. At a certain point, you stop questioning how Thor's hammer flies. You just know it will. Better than anything you could build. Uh-oh. Which makes it the perfect delivery system for my latest on-the-spot invention. So stupid. A remote viral package that'll breach Kree and Skrull firewalls. Yep, that's it. Tony Stark, on the spot, invented a remote viral package that could be delivered remotely and would stop the Kree, the Kree Skrull fleet dead in its tracks. Yep, the ending of ID4, what is a 30-year-old movie? That's what they copied. He just hacked the whole thing. Yep, that's it. Now, it's not completely it. We get a little bit further. So we get the derivative ending of ID4, and Tony Stark can completely hack an interstellar empire whose technology dwarfs his own. Whatever, who cares? Thank you, Avengers. Thank you so very much. And in true M. Night Shyamalan fashion, there's a twist. Guess what? You didn't see it coming. The Kawadi are the bad guys. We are the Avengers now. Well, I think they just proved them. Avengers are the bad guys, so they're the bad guys. And and they just start destroying everybody. And then we get this scene. Tony, Steve, I didn't know. I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of Iron Man butting in and being like, I know best, I'm going to come here. Wasn't it the very last issue we had a monologue of Iron Man being like, the difference between me and Carol Danvers is when I say I'm right, it's because I am. No, you motherfucker. You just doomed millions of people because you butted in, and once again, your arrogant ass. But it's going to keep going that way because he's Iron Man, and that's what we like. All the people, I saw the Iron Man movie, and I like the Robert Downey Jr. version. He's so snarky. And we're going to constantly keep getting that failed version. You know, it worked for the MCU because it was one singular story. Iron Man failed one time. And then afterwards, he doesn't fail again. But in the comic books, it's going to just be reiterated over and over because that's all they know how to do is copy movies that they see over and over and over, whether it's Back to the Future, it's ID4, it's all this derivative stuff put into the book. This is my third favorite spot where I get to see all the Marvel characters getting killed, turned into plant things. Not because I hate Marvel characters, but I mean, I kind of do. I just don't like what Marvel's turned these characters into. And there's the end. They're going to begin their empire. That's issue number 1. Look, this comic wasn't terrible. In some ways, it was actually better than that other book, that Avengers Empire Zero book I reviewed. It's because it wasn't super boring. But in other ways, even though it wasn't super boring, it just does things that I'm like, painful. Like it's like, yes, you made a more interesting book, but also one that was more cringy at the same time. Can you just do good and drop the cringe? There was good potential in this book. The art's not terrible. I don't even really mind this twist at the end that the Kawadi are the bad guys. You know, I don't expect comics to be super surprising all the time. It's fine if you want to go down and take the road that it's been traveled before, but just have some polish on it. Just get some editors. Really, the problem with this book is the editing. Half of the writing in this book should have just been tossed out. Way too much word balloons, narrative bubbles. Really self-impressed. That's the problem. When I read this book, I'm just like, oh God, these writers just think they're the best thing since sliced bread. They just think we just want to read every word that they type out. We're just like, oh, like we're just devouring it, being like, oh, this is such a juicy morsel of Dan Slott typed again. No, your purpose is to tell the story. The story is that these Kawadi have been plotting this big thing, and the Kree Skrull are here to stop them, but they get misidentified by the Avengers because there's prejudice, and we've always viewed the Kree Skrulls as the bad guys, so our confirmation bias leads into going, oh, shit, these guys are we're wrong. It's the Kawadi are really the bad guys all along. That's your story. And your job is to tell that as efficiently as possible. But this is so bloated, I couldn't enjoy it. So it's not an awful book, but it's not one I can recommend by any means either. So I'm going to give this 2 stars. And if you're not a snob like me, if you're a kind of person that just is like, I like Marvel Comics, well, give it an extra star for you. You're not as critical about the stuff as I am, and that's fine. Everyone, you buy what you like. I'm only here to share what my thoughts are, whether you agree with them or disagree with them. I'm just a different schmo who has his own worldview. So thank you so much for at least making it this far in the video. Put any comments or anything you'd like to share down below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.